All right. Let's see here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are tuning in from. Not who you are expecting to see. Your usual hosts, they are enjoying a much deserved break. And so we have taken over the stream here to talk about AI. If you're new here, just welcome to 60 Minutes of .NET Edutainment. Our mission here is to empower the .NET community to achieve more. I am your host, Luis, and with me are my co-hosts, Stephen and Frank.
Hello, hello.
All right. Uh, and so today, I'd like to welcome today's guest, who is not new to the stream, has been on before. But Daniel, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here again. I'm Microsoft MVP for 4 years now, and for the last few years, I spent any opportunity to talk about machine learning and lately about large language models because it makes a perfect team with machine learning. And yes, today I would like to show you what I found playing with the OpenAI assistants and how we can use them to make them collaborate.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Let's see. Did you want to just dive into slides, presentation? How do you want to get started with this?
I have the slides. It's
All right.
screen already shared there. And then when from time to time, I will show some code and run the code to see what happens.
Great.
Okay, then I think I'm going to start, right?
Yep, go for it. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, let's introduce quickly this generative AI or large language models. We all know already to play with ChatGPT. We know we have to play with prompts, and we know we have to build good prompts. But before that, let's understand a little the place of generative AI. So it's an area of deep learning, but it works with large language models, with the more specifically with semantic models. And then we have a category, like those which generates text, images, video. And of course, we are all familiar with the OpenAI, which was the first who democratized this. But if we don't use these assistants in our daily work, I will not be so sure. Maybe we know about some of them. Some of us we know about GPTs. So assistants are pretty similar to GPTs, but from development perspective. So let's talk a little about what are the latest additions in OpenAI. And we recall almost 1 year ago when function calling was released. It was an important and useful feature helping us to deal with additional functionality when preparing the prompt templates. But there is more when working with agents. For example, to manage the state, we have to store for all these messages somewhere in the client, of course. I'm talking about these roles like system role or assistant role or user role, which are all messages, but depending on the place. For example, system role, it's, I would say, an invisible role because when we are playing with ChatGPT, we don't see the system prompt. But when we are developing, this prompt is very important because it's declaring the behavior of the bot, of our assistant. Well, this prompt it's called sometimes meta prompt, but then we start sending user prompts, and the large language model responds with assistant prompts. These are not all kind of prompts. There are some more introduced by these assistants. We will talk a little bit later about. So let me tell you something. For example, about managing the messages. For example, I'm going to send the 10th message to large language model. Well, it's not only that message which goes to the large language model, it's another 9 previous role users messages and another 9 assistant roles messages, maybe a meta prompt, which is system prompt. So yes, it's 19 messages along with the one we see we are sending it. So it's 20 in totals. All these messages have to be managed somewhere, and it was normally in the client. That was really painful because we have to manage by ourselves anything. So then, after a few months later, like in November, if I'm not wrong, the OpenAI Assistants feature was added to OpenAI API. Actually, now this part of API it's called Assistants API, and this simplifies a lot the client because we have a thread mechanism in place which takes care about these messages. I'm not saying we don't have to send the same number of messages, but now they are grouped. They are managed in so-called threads, and they are grouped in runs. We will talk about in a bit about this. Well, I told you about threads because we have a thread able to maintain the same context for more than one GPT instance, which are called AI assistants. This thread is synonym with a chat conversation, but this is managed on the server side. And as usual, we are doing requests, getting back the responses, and maybe in between we have some other special kind of messages called tools messages, and all these are packed in a run. So a pair of requests, tools, and responses are paired in a run. We say we have a run. But how this works? So we initiate a thread. This thread it's not dependent on any assistant. We initiate the thread, and then we can assign assistants to this thread in order to make the context visible between the assistants. So they share the same memory now. And this opens more opportunities on how they can collaborate. But the flow is the same as before. We drop a message into the thread, and then the large language models tries to figure out what to do. If it's necessary, it sends back a message asking for some tools to run. And then another request is going back to large language model and so on until all the requests are solved. When everything is done, we get a response. And this response is hopefully what we need. But as you already anticipate, this will be pretty expensive. So yeah, assistants are expensive. So we have to take care on the tokens. It's important to optimize and to watch closely the consumptions. I remember when I started playing with this, of course, I wanted good results. So I have used GPT-4 Turbo. By the way, you can use GPT 3.5 Turbo as well, but there is a difference in the quality accuracy of the responses. So, as I said, I have used GPT-4. I didn't pay attention to what I'm doing, and yeah, it's like spending like 10, $20 in a day or two. It's um, it's not so much, but we are not used to pay for run like this. Anyway, when I switch back to 3.5 in order to fine tune my prompts to refine my prompts, I wouldn't use fine tune because it means something else when we are talking about large language models. So in the process of refining the prompt, I have used 3.5, but then when I start to see the beauty of these assistants collaborating, then I'm switching back to GPT-4. Okay, let's go further. How is semantic kernel? Because I didn't talk too much about semantic kernel yet, I will introduce quickly what is semantic kernel. I love this tool. It's an open source SDK which works with OpenAI, with Azure OpenAI, and with Hugging Face if you have some other sources there. And then you can use any language you like between this popular language like C Sharp, Python, and Java. And lately, the team did beautiful work trying to align the capabilities between these languages to catch up. And then I would say, in short, that Microsoft Semantic Kernel is highly extensible, easy to use, and it can mix together the existing code along with semantic functions in such called prompt templates, allowing us to create plugins. Well, the plugins are like collections or containers of functions. Then we can build planners. With planners, we can generate plans to complete AI tasks. And last but not least, it's personas. Personas allows us to declare the behavior of an assistant, and in that way we can have specialized assistants able to collaborate and to solve together complex tasks or problems. Well, most of these features used to be fully implemented in semantic kernel last time I did a presentation um, here on .NET Live. It was like December, and it was a very rich month because semantic kernel did a important shift, accommodating these OpenAI assistants in semantic kernel in the library, in the SDK. So now this resulted in simplified work with the agents, with the planners. And I think the most radical change was with the planners. I used to know how to work with the planners, but then everything changed. But it's for the good because now the burden, most of the burden was moved on the server. Well, let me tell you something else. Indeed, the OpenAI Assistants framework makes it for everyone very easy to write in AI code, but mostly for agents to interact with the users and perform tasks for a large variety of agents that can be built. Let me introduce the information, some elements which I used for my demo.
Real
Yep.
quick, Daniel. There's a question in the chat here regarding from RoadSafe, who's asking: is the first class agent support be part? Well, is it going to be part of the spring release? And I assume RoadSafe that you're referring to Semantic Kernel here. I'm going to paste into the chat the roadmap that the Semantic Kernel team has, sort of created here, and you're going to see that agents is part of that. So check that out for more
I,
details.
yeah, I assume it's in Semantic Kernel roadmap, right? It's
Yep, it
already
is.
there. It's already there, and I played, for example, with the OpenAI library, but recently, 1 month ago, Azure OpenAI library was added as well. So you can choose which account you have and start playing with the OpenAI assistants in Semantic Kernel, and you can build your agents with AI assistants, of course. Maybe I didn't get the meaning of the question, but let me know.
Cool. Thank you.
Welcome. Switching back to the demo ingredients. So I have played with more agents, and I have created some. I brought here in the demo some well-known heroes. It's Shakespeare, it's Don Quixote, it's Jack Sparrow, and it's Yoda. All of them are talking in their own style, and the purpose of this is to see how are these agents really collaborating, and if they are aware of the history of the chat, and if they are really doing their job independently. And for all these agents to work, we have a dialogue writer agent. This is like our project manager. And in addition, we have a dialogue script. What is the dialogue script? It's a list of prompts. So I have prepared, like when you're writing a drama, you are the script writer, and you're writing how the flow will go, how the dialogue will go between the these actors. Okay, let me show you a little bit how are these prompts. I'm trying to give some context and trying to create some action. I put in red some parts which I'm specifically following. For example, I tell something which is very unexpected. Don Quixote likes Coca-Cola. Why I did that? Because I want to follow next. In the next line, when Jack Sparrow makes a bad joke about Don Quixote's taste in drinks, I want to see if it really catches the fact that Don Quixote likes Coca-Cola and it's not making things up without considering the history. But then what I did next, I tried to trick a little the assistants, for example, but this is, well, just a semantical part. I wanted to see, because all these assistants are called automatically because their name is mentioned in the prompt. But sometimes the name plays an active part, some other times plays a passive part. For example, here I replaced a little bit semantically the action. I said Jack Sparrow gets a threat from Don Quixote. So Don Quixote is the one who acts. I want to see if who will respond. And then so on. I try to follow the action, and the end, Don Quixote, for example, will say nothing, and I want to see if it really is really silent or not. Okay, let me go and show you a little bit of interaction. Firstly, I have put these agents to collaborate in a hierarchical scenario. For example, the Dialog writer agent is like the project manager, and he is calling the next agents, like our characters, whenever they are mentioned in the prompt. A few things to take care here. We are creating a thread because we plan to drop messages into this thread, therefore to let these assistants to collaborate. But it's our responsibility to clean up, because I'm not sure how it is so far, if it costs, but I read leaving there the already created assistants, it costs money. So your budget will decrease, of course, over the night. It's not only when you are chatting with these agents, it's some fee per day for assistant. So be careful, clean up. So this is an architecture of this agents interaction. I created the diagram because I wanted you to show how is this thread working. So again, I have the dialog writer agent, and then I'm attaching the other 4 agents to the main agent. This is how they are collaborating. The project manager is making use of these agents when necessary, and their response will be dropped in the thread. Therefore, everyone will know what is the topic, how is the topic, how is the dialogue going. And we keep dropping lines and more lines in the prompt. And for each round, we have a run. When the dialogue lands in the in the large language model, then the model will invoke the tools, aka the functions, which are corresponding to our agents, and it will try to find their answers and to aggregate the response for us. The aggregated response is sent back to the user. And this is how we put these assistants to collaborate. As I said, and I will say it again, this is easily exceeding 5 kilo tokens, one run. So you have to, you have to be careful what you put in your prompts.
And just real quickly here, Daniel, which model are you planning on using for this demo?
Today I can run with the 4 because we celebrate. But for daily work we can switch back to 3.5 just in order to save some credit. So the short answer is whichever you like. It's compatible with 3.5 turbo, with 4 turbo, and yeah, I think it's starting with the version 11.06 upwards.
Cool.
As long as we're paused for a moment, I just thought I would jump in with something. The information you're sharing is great, and obviously this talk is specific to OpenAI Assistants. But I just wanted to highlight for anyone who it may not be super clear for, that the idea of agents does not require OpenAI Assistants. That's one implementation, one approach to implementing such an agent-based architecture. There's fundamentally nothing that requires this kind of agent-based architecture to use OpenAI Assistants. There are lots of other ways of implementing it. There are different implementations even within Semantic Kernel. There are different implementations separately, like with AutoGen. And so you don't have to use OpenAI assistants to employ this kind of strategy, but you can. Wanted to call that out.
Yeah, that's right. Because I started like this, then I started doing more and more, and then I realized, oh, but we can have much simpler agents. And then it was Azure OpenAI Assistants as well. Yes, we have a large variety of agents. This is a more complex scenario, but this is what I wanted to capture. Thank you. So, okay, let me show you how this. But I will jump to the demo, and if it's lazy today or we have some issues, then I will come back to the slides. Let me show you first how I have declared these agents. For example, Don Quixote. It's like a phrase where I'm extracting these agents to not be very chatty. So I limited the chat to 10 words. And I'm expecting to have some meaningful dialogue line looking at the previous messages. Yeah, I like them to be creative. And then let me show you the dialogue writer, because this is different. And I spent a lot of time trying to make it work nice. For example, if they don't have anything to reply, if no tools is applicable, respond with ellipses, like we see in a book. But maybe the most important findings, which is not new, but it's important, I will emphasize again. If you plan to get some responses in a which is more complex, and you maybe want to see more complex data, then ask the model to reply in some structured format. I have used JSON. So when I started to suggest the format of the response, I started to get much precise responses. Until then, sometimes the model didn't respond at all, or maybe with a line, but I need some interaction, right? Let me show you this. I will run the UI, the API, and I will drop here some lines from this interaction. First, these guys are having a feast. Don Quixote likes Coca-Cola, all making remarks about their favorite drinks. And then next, Jack Sparrow makes a bad joke about Don Quixote's taste in drinks. I want to see what happens.
While we're waiting here, I want to ask, people are asking if it support non-English languages.
It's supporting more or less all languages. I have played mostly with English, but you can try Spanish. I tried Romanian. It works nicely. Maybe not so accurate, but I didn't notice some important difference, at least not for this task.
Yeah, good question. I also try French, and like even mixing the French and English and everything, and it was kind of speaking to me back in both languages. It was interesting. Cool.
Yeah,
good question.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, good question to
Good question
Amr.
indeed. So I'm showing this here, the user message, and now let's give it a few seconds to respond. Yeah, meanwhile, I will tell you, not all the time these assistants are behaving as expected. For example, I noticed a very interesting phenomenon. Sometimes one assistant suddenly starts copying the talking style of another assistant, and this is an effect, but it's interesting to think about. Okay, look, we have some response. So Jack Sparrow, of course, talks about rum, Shakespeare about mead, Don Quixote, oh, it's not talking about Coca-Cola today, and it's talking Spanish. First time I noticed this Don Quixote talks Spanish in this with assistants, and then it says Jack Sparrow force says something that we cannot relate clearly what he says to the history, but let me run this again because we can interact in here in command line. Let me run it again.
Don Quixote just wanted to show that non-English languages were supported.
He
Exactly.
So
shows
there's
off.
your answer.
And I was just thinking, like when a bunch of people are together and like someone has an accent, I know some other people will catch that accent. So maybe it's the same with those digital friends.
Very interesting remark, because this is what we human do, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Look, for example, today Don Quixote wouldn't talk about Coca-Cola. Anyway, I'm waiting for Jack Sparrow to respond, and then I will try to do something interactively. Come on. Just a few more seconds. Bear with me. But what else do we have here? Yeah, later. I have put in some lines. I have put some alerts. I have declared the plugin, and when somebody is doing something, acting like an imminent danger, it's going to happen, and then I have an alert which kicks in. It's important to know in production we are going to do something with these agents. We are going to take some actions, and having some plugins attached to these assistants, it's a very good way to trigger some operations, some events. Okay, it's pretty lazy today. Okay, I will let it go, and I will go back to the presentation because I have another scenario. Okay, the second kind of interaction, it's a joint chat. So it's pretty much the same, but now it's like a round table. Every assistant or every agent built with assistant has its own chance to interact. Now we will not wait. We will not wait for like a project manager to trigger these agents. We will give the chance in a for loop. will give the chance for these agents to talk, to respond to the same message, as I said, in a round table approach. And then, for the sake of consistency, I still kept there the dialog writer agent, but it's not like a project manager. Now it's like a narrator, which is just making remarks about what happens. Well, I think I missed again the time when I wanted to put here something randomly to see what is responding, but we are not so lucky to do it nicely in time. And let's try now to. Okay, now I will copy some mother lines because I want to show you how are these plugins triggered. Yeah, let me delete some of these. For example, so again, Jack Sparrow, Shakespeare, everyone making remarks about their favorite drinks, and Yoda hurts Jack Sparrow with energy blast, resulting in an epic victory. Let's see what happens.
I feel like that escalated way too quickly there, going from joking to blasting with energy.
I cannot keep you here waiting, but it's very funny to look how are these people arguing and fighting and having all this interactively controlled. It's real fun. Look, the plugin kicks in imminent danger because I put imminent danger, and it's because it's going to follow something here. What was it? Danger? Why? Because let's see. Yoda, strong amino force, but not with caffeine. Shakespeare, fetch me a flagon of ale. Where is the imminent danger? No, we're drinking for the valiant. Yes, I prefer a cherry wine. It's a imminent danger, semantically speaking, somewhere. But then it's the next prompt. Yoda hurts Jack Sparrow, and now really, it's imminent danger because hurt did you? I did not win the battle I have. And of course, all these guys are responding because it's a loop there, and I'm giving the chance for everyone to respond. Even the narrator is responding, trying to summarize what happened in the last few lines. So this was the joint approach. This is making these agents more independent, but then we don't control how they are kicking in. I mean, we have to call them. It's not something which AI decides. Yeah, I have redraw here a little bit. How are these agents sent or attached to the prompt? Now they are not added as plugins to this agent because it's not the case anymore. Now they are all going in the prompt, and then they are called by LLM. And the LLM, it's calling every single mentioned assistant, aggregating a response, and then it's sending back the response. But yes, we have to call this prompt 5 times for each of these agents. Before, it was only once. And another way, which is more traditional because we have attached each agent as a plugin to the project manager. But now we are planning to send all the prompt in one prompt. all the prompt in one shot, all together, like a list of steps. And this was really hard to make it happen nicely, because now the model has to figure out how to approach this complex task. Let me show you the prompt. So now, in order to keep the things under control, I have used some tricks like step-by-step approach, trying to show what are the steps. Yeah, this is a chain of thought. It's a little bit of prompt engineering here, and then few shot learning, another technique. Yeah, I have to be more precise and more advanced to approach this prompt in a more advanced way. And then I have showed how the response. So I have formatted the response, again asking in a precise structure, like what is the verbal action identified in the prompt? Who is the assistant who's responding? Because I don't know if it's not reported. And then, of course, the dialogue line. And let's see what happens. So all is one now, like the musketeers, right? So this is the prompt. Of course, I just show you the meta prompt or the behavior of the agent. Until this is running, I will show you the code behind. Agents as plugins. So I have declared agent one by one. Everyone knows about these alerts, which I explained before. And then I'm attaching as plugins all these other agents to the main one, to the dialog writer agent. And then I'm just calling, I'm invoking the model with one prompt once, only once. And of course, the response is streamed, so I have to await with the for each asynchronously. Still working.
Daniel, while we're waiting, just to clarify though, you yourself are explicitly submitting sort of one prompt, but with each of those agents registered as plugins, if that prompt causes the model to want one of those plugins invoked, implicitly that will be submitting additional prompts to whatever model is backing those agents. No?
Can you summarize again, please? I'm not
the actual you're calling invoke once, but
Yeah.
under the covers there might be many prompts being submitted to models under the covers, because you've registered each of those as functions effectively that the tool is able to
Yeah.
use. So it's not that you're just submitting you're explicitly submitting a single prompt, but under the covers there can be many being submitted.
It's starting a show. Yeah, that's correct. And that's why maybe it's so expensive, because it's a how to call it? It's like a popcorn. it's calling whatever it's identified, whatever tool is identified, it's sent back to the user. But well, we are not interacting via UI, but it's a conversation which happens behind. Okay, so until this request is running, what I'm going to tell you is yes, if we plan to put everything in one prompt, it comes with a cost. because maybe the prompt will not behave nicely all the time or most of the times. And if you want to keep things under control, it's good to split your prompt in smaller tasks. And obviously here we have a complex task, but it's one prompt. And of course, I have figured out, I have redraw this in order to exemplify, but yeah, it's not obvious here what happens behind. Nevertheless, an important difference is we don't have a thread here. We didn't need a thread to define a thread to put these assistants to respond in the same thread because it's not the assistants which are responding in a thread. Instead, it's function calling. Let's see again.
Just real quick here. So like, would it be safe to say or kind of summarize the three different approaches as being like, obviously you're always in control, right? Because you're the one that's writing the code as to how you orchestrate and sort of define the architecture for these agents, right? But at the end, part of it is also like, to which degree do you want control versus giving the system autonomy to sort of choose the next step?
Precisely.
And then also like the context management of threads versus non-threads.
That's correct. The last one, indeed, it's autonomous, but it's not interactive. Still behaving pretty nice if you are building carefully the prompt. For example, we have here some assistants which are responding even more than once. And look, I have another alert kicking in. Somebody dies because this is what I requested. I requested Yoda to step in. And I will show now the alerts. I have declared here two native functions which are declared specifically like this in Semantic Kernel. So somebody dies or somebody is taking actions which puts a life in danger. It's good to see the model is good enough to figure out when to kick in. And as very nicely Luis summarized, we can we can approach this collaboration in multiple ways, and we can mix them. And I didn't put here, for example, too many agents. Nevertheless, it's good to keep it simple all the time. But if it's necessary to create more complex stuff, first we have to understand how they are working together. Conclusions. It's still in beta, so we can expect some improvements. Yeah, I put here the difference, interactive or not, what we are trading for. And yeah, be aware sometimes the models are not responding at all. So maybe you would like to approach this in a more resilient way to request multiple times the response. It's still slow, but we hope this will get better in time. And don't stop to reprogram your model. Read about Semskilachi laws of AI, because we have to get used with this non-deterministic way of solving problems. We cannot expect all the time for the same response, not even for a positive one. So yeah, we need to adapt. Okay, I put here some links. You can contact me for more questions. But nevertheless, this was it, and I can tell I like how these assistants are working together a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, it was. Thank you for taking us through that, Daniel, and just showing us the different ways that you could, sort of get started with agents, specifically the OpenAI implementation, right, of these assistants in Semantic Kernel. There's a few questions, and also if you have additional questions for Daniel, feel free to drop them in the chat. But maybe this was relevant, right? You were showing the different threads and how you were managing context. But let me sort of bring up a question here from Niranjan, who was asking, what is the difference between semantic kernel and memory? And I guess in the context of in the context of these agents, right? You were kind of using the threads to sort of maintain a sort of continuous sort of chat history, right? But maybe here we can expand on this point here.
Yeah, I can respond. So semantic kernel is managing the memory. The kernel has a part of the kernel is managing the memory. So it's a chat completion which keeps all the the requests and responses. I mean the messages, all the messages, and this is how we. This was from the beginning in semantic kernel. Now, of course, with threads, we can approach this a little bit different because now we have this shared memory on the server as well. But we have to manage as well. We have to move these messages from one way to the other ourselves. But still, yeah, this is how we are managing the memory. So maybe I don't get exactly the meaning of the question. It's not just memory. It's how the semantic kernel is managing the memory.
Cool. Yeah, Niranjan, just feel free to expand on that question if we didn't cover it exactly as you would expect it to. Yeah. We have this question from Wakar. So as you were working with the prompts and the templates and the agents, were you using any extensions to do that?
For the prompts?
Yeah, or just in general in the workflows and demos that you showed.
Yeah, let me. I think my screen is still visible.
It is now, yeah.
Fantastic, good. So the prompts, if they are native, then they are C# or Java or Python classes. All we have to do is to annotate these functions with this attribute, with kernel function. This is what we have to do in order to help semantic kernel to identify its own functions in this plugin. But then a way to keep the prompts is in escape prompt.txt file, which is a text file. It's a structured text file, but I have preferred the newer way of packing these prompts in a YAML file. It's good to have a YAML file because the YAML file is combining the prompt and the prompt attributes, the prompt configuration. For example, let me show. I can have here the temperature. In this prompt specifically, I don't have arguments or parameters, but if I would, I can put them here. If you're using the native format, which comes with semantic kernel, then we need an additional JSON config.json where we had to keep all these attributes and parameters. So this is how we persist. In addition to all of this, we can do everything programmatically using the library.
I see. Yeah, and Wakar sort of clarified here. They like how your editor looks. Are you using any extensions here for this these YAML files, or is it just just Visual Studio?
Just Visual Studio. I think it's the theme. It's Crimson. I like it very much. It's where is the theme? I never find it when I need it.
We should add that as one of the segments here for on.net Live. What's your editor theme?
It's definitely
Yeah.
a common question. Huh? You can
Yeah.
search right where you are right now. If you type Teams, I think it will show.
Yeah, I was going to do this. It's doing it in another screen.
So while that's
All I succeeded I hit enter is to change it. Tools. Now it's
while you're setting up your theme back to what it was, I just wanted to take the opportunity here, to thank you, Daniel, for taking the time to chat with us.
I'll not play now. What's wrong with Teams?
Yeah, and just thank everybody for sort of tuning in and watching, and hopefully you sort of find this useful and can get started using agents right in your applications. Next time we're going to be chatting with Jason Bach, who's going to talk to us about lessons learned building source generators. So make sure to tune in then and check out the other .net Live shows and live streams that are available out there. So yeah, again, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.